WBR AM 1530, WVBF Middleboro Taunton, and W259DD Middleboro Center, 99.7 FM, your hometown radio station.
Breaking news this hour from Town Hall. I'm Rich Thomason. Despite a resurgence in deadly violence, 2 Israeli soldiers shot dead by Hamas gunmen in Gaza, and Israel responding with deadly airstrikes. Israel insists that the fragile Gaza ceasefire is back on track. The BBC's Joanne Nell is in Jerusalem.
Israel's military launched dozens of strikes after it said its troops operating in Rafah in southern Gaza were attacked by Hamas fighters, but within hours it said it had resumed enforcement of the ceasefire. Israeli media say that a decision to close aid crossings to Gaza was overturned following US pressure. Mr. Trump's special envoys Steve Witkoff and Jared Kushner had already been expected in Israel. They're due to meet with Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu later. The Hamas chief negotiator Khalil al-Hayya is meeting Egyptian mediators in Cairo to discuss next steps in the ceasefire deal.
Working to end the war in Gaza, President Trump says Ukraine's Donbas region should be, in his words, cut up, leaving most of it in Russian hands.
What they should do is just stop at the lines where they are, the battle lines. You have a battle line right now. The rest is very tough to negotiate if you're going to say, this, you take that, there's so many different permutations.
The FBI leading the investigation into a hunting stand found in a tree in Florida had a direct view of the area where President Trump exits Air Force One at the Palm Beach Airport. The president says he will cut U.S. aid and hit Colombia with punishing tariffs. Mr. Trump accuses Colombia's president of being a leader in the production and the distribution of illegal drugs. In Paris, the search goes on for the thieves who broke into the Louvre Museum, smashing display cases, making off with priceless crown jewels. Watching Wall Street, the Dow 221 points higher. The Nasdaq is up 235 points. More on these stories, townhall.com.
We all hear the radio ads about the IRS. They tell you to be afraid, to be scared, and they try to frighten you into calling. I'm not here to do that. Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000, $50,000, or $500,000, we have a solution. It doesn't matter if you're sitting in your car, at work, or with your kids. No matter where you are, call now. 800-583-0141. Don't lose hope. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS. Generous programs are now available that can give you a fresh start. Our passion is taxes and helping individuals fix their IRS problems. We have over 1,000 5-star reviews on Google and an A+ with the Better Business Bureau. You don't need to be afraid of the IRS any longer. End your tax nightmare today by visiting us online at TRA.com or call 800-583-0141. That's 800-583-0141. Tax Relief Advocates. Real solutions for real people.
It looks like cooler heads will prevail in South Asia.
Afghanistan and Pakistan embroiled in fighting that has killed dozens of people and injured hundreds, pledged on Sunday to respect a ceasefire. The truce, mediated by Qatar and Turkey, came into effect immediately and is intended to pause hostilities. Violence has escalated between the neighbors since earlier this month, with each country saying they were responding to aggression from the other. Both countries signed a bilateral agreement, and a mechanism is being established in the future under the mediation of intermediary countries to review bilateral claims and ensure the effective implementation of the agreement. I'm Julie Walker.
A cargo aircraft scooted off a Hong Kong runway early today, colliding with a security vehicle before both plunged into the sea. A few people in the vehicle were killed. News and analysis, townhall.com. A change in strategy for combating peanut allergies in kids.
A study recommended feeding babies peanut products early to prevent allergies. 60,000 kids avoided allergies after such guidance was issued in 2015. Now, a new study finds peanut allergies in kids ranging from newborns to 3 declined by more than 20% after the initial guidance was issued. For decades, doctors had recommended delaying feeding children peanuts and other foods likely to trigger allergies. until the age of 3. Jason Walker reporting.
President Trump says the United States could purchase beef from Argentina in a bid to lower prices for American consumers. Beef prices have remained high for a number of reasons, including a drought, as well as reduced imports from Mexico. More on these stories at townhall.com.
WVBF is your hometown radio station. And one of the things we like to do to support people in your hometown is to run community announcements. If you do belong to a nonprofit group or organization, or if you're an official with a city or town government, send your community announcements along to our email address. It's safe, it's fast, and allows us to get right back to you if we have a question. Send your community announcements to WVBF1530@hotmail.com. That's WVBF1530@hotmail.com. Thank you for listening. Your hometown radio station is AM 1530, WVBF and 99.7 FM. The opinions expressed on this program are those of the host and do not express the views of WVBF ownership or Hometown Talk Radio.
234. And good morning. I am Joey Driscoll. Today is Monday, October 20th, 2025. It is a rainy and dreary day today. Rain heavy at times today here, but hopefully it clears out by the end of the day today. But it's a rainy day. It's a rainy Monday today. But we are pretty close to Halloween. A lot of Halloween events going on locally, as you were heard during the hometown talk with Ron this morning. He mentioned several Halloween events coming up in the next week or two, as Halloween is now just about under 2 weeks away. We also have an election coming up in Taunton in about 2 weeks. We'll talk about that on the show today. Early voting will begin very soon. We'll talk a little bit about that as well. We'll take your phone calls, 508-822-1106, 508-822-1106. We got a lot of different events to talk about. We got our sports segment. We're going to talk about this running back out of Curry College. We're going to talk about him. What a performance this week for him, breaking a ton of records, not just in the division he plays, but in all of college football, maybe even all of football, period. We'll talk about that. We'll talk about the pivotal Game 7 between the Mariners and the Blue Jays, which I expected would happen. Game 7, I have been predicting it since the series began, that I think that the series will go 7, and of course it's going to go 7. This helps the Dodgers. It rests the Dodgers even more. But I still think whoever wins this series, it's going to be an entertaining series with the Dodgers, regardless of who wins. If it's the Blue Jays, you got some really good players on both sides. The Dodgers and the Blue Jays would be a fun matchup. The Dodgers versus the Mariners would be a fun matchup. I think it's a toss-up as to who I think will win Game 7 tonight. That game gets underway at 8. We'll talk a little bit more about that during our sports segment. We'll have much more. We'll do a musical recommendation. Well, not a musical recommendation. More like a music segment, because I want to do some more things about Rush I've been talking about Russia over the past couple of weeks here, and there are more tour dates that they just announced. And my opinion on that is I knew that they were going to add more Canadian tour dates, which they're doing. And I'm very surprised at some of the local tour dates that they've added as well. Well, not one. One I'm surprised of. The other one I kind of saw that they were probably going to do that. I expected that they were going to do that. I expected them to add even more tour dates in America as well and in Canada. And I think they're going to have a world tour with this band because the demand seems like it's very, very high for Rush in what probably is their final tour in their career. So we'll talk a little bit about that during our music segment. We'll have our transportation segment as well, but we'll also have your phone calls. 508-822-1106 is number. We're going to start off with talking about blood drives. We've added a few blood drives here for the month of November, so we'll go over those. So blood drives here. We have one coming up this Thursday here in Taunton at the Homes for Our Troops, 6 Main Street in Taunton, 11 a.m. to 4 p.m. Tuesday, October the 28th in Norton Public Library, 68 East Main Street, 12:30 p.m. to 5:30 p.m. for that blood drive. Then we have new ones coming up for the month of November. We have Wednesday, November the 5th, Holy Cross Church. That's at 225 Purchase Street, Southeastern, 2 p.m. to 7 p.m. for that blood drive. Then we have the 18th of November, which is a Tuesday at Freetown Council on Aging at 227 Chase Road in Freetown, 2:30 p.m. to 7 p.m. for that blood drive. Then we have a blood drive coming up on Monday, November 24th at Lakeville Public Library, 4 Precinct Street. That's in Lakeville, 12:30 p.m. to 5 p.m. for that blood drive. And finally, to end November, Sunday, November 30th, Church of Our Savior, 60 Union Street, Middleboro, 9 a.m. to 2 for that blood drive. So several blood drives coming up here for October and November. If you want to sign up for any of these blood drives, go to redcross.org and just type in any of these blood drives, and you'll find the information for that. If you're unable to make any of these blood drives, but if you still want to give blood, there are blood donation centers in Kingston and in Raynham to go to as well anytime you want to give blood. All right, that is your blood drives. Kind of staying on this kind of topic, the health topic here. The Taunton Board of Health, in partnership with CVS Pharmacy, they'll be hosting an annual community vaccine clinic. That's Tuesday, October 28th. So that's next Tuesday, 2 p.m. to 6 p.m., 141 Oak Street, Taunton. Protect yourself and your loved ones with on-site access to these recommended vaccines. The flu vaccine, shingles, pneumonia, RSV, COVID-19, Tdap, and whooping cough. Limited spots are available. To register, you visit cbs.com, schedule vaccines. Vaccines will be billed through the pharmacy. Please bring your pharmacy insurance card. If you have Medicare, bring your Part D card. Not sure which to use, bring all current cards or call CVS Pharmacy. Most plans cover vaccines. If a vaccine isn't covered, you can decline it or pay at the clinic by card, on file, check, or exact cash. Remember, CVS cannot bill the city of Taunton or provide vaccine vouchers. If you have any questions, call the Taunton Board of Health. That's at 508-821-1400. So vaccines are coming up here, and you have an option to go and get vaccines coming up here in Taunton next Tuesday. All right, let's go to the phone lines and say good morning, caller. You're on Middleboro Matters.
Hey, you invited me on again.
Yes, Democratic Cowboy. How are you?
So what's up today? I had a couple of shots. They're very good. I had the COVID and I had the flu shot.
Yeah, I've had a few flu shots in my life as well. Yeah, very important. Flu shots, very, very important. So what's going on in Brockton today?
Well, I've read on the computer here that they've already selected their mayor. How can you select a mayor in this election? They're always looking forward to Derek Court getting in.
Yeah, that doesn't make
I've
sense.
got nothing against the guy. I'm not a racist. I'm being perfectly clear on you today. But what he did, he invited us up here we had trouble with BET, and he went in and he said, "Come on up," and we invited him up here, from Florida, and all of a sudden it just didn't work out. We're in the court battles and everything, and all of a sudden we were out of Brockton, and now we got this French Creole station. The only one, and thank God for you folks.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
I think the mayor's race, not only here in Taunton, but in Brockton as well. That's going to be interesting. Those are going to be interesting races to watch. Later on, we'll be talking about early voting in Taunton. So again, a lot of people are probably going to go out to vote. I mean, both of these races. So we'll see what happens when election day comes. And what the results
they've
are.
already got it fixed on the computer. They've already got it fixed on the computer.
I don't.
We're looking forward to Mr. Derek and the other guy.
Yeah, I don't follow anything that's said online.
Right.
When it comes to that stuff.
He didn't take out his papers or something. I'd rather have him in there because Derek Court, he don't want the water plant, and I want the water plant. You gotta have the water plant. Because we'll go so dry if Silver Lake goes bottoms up.
So what I'll say about this is, whatever happens in these two elections is going to be very interesting to watch. But it is 11:18 a.m. We got to take our first commercial break. So I got to tell you, thank you for calling in, and call back again on Friday.
Joey, thank you very much for talking to me. I appreciate the station. I really do.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll talk to you soon.
Okay, have a good day, Joe.
Yeah, bye-bye. And with that, let's take our first commercial break. We'll be right back.
Hello, my name is Bill Stroney, and I'm running for re-election to the Commission for the Taunton Municipal Labor Plan. As a retired employee who worked with TMOP for 40 years, and as Commissioner for the past 2, I understand how the business operates on many different levels. As Commissioner, I look to provide high-speed internet service to all of our customers through prudent and efficient cost management, and of course, provide the lowest rates possible through the intelligent and economical purchase of power contracts and common sense cost management. There's still work to do. I respectfully ask for your vote on November 4th. Paid for by Bill Stroney.
Good day, listeners. I'm Ed Carrera, and I want to work for you and represent you on the Taunton City Council and the Taunton Zoning Board of Appeals. Why these two positions? I know I can make an impactful and positive difference in our city. I'll say it again loud and clear. I love our city of Taunton. I was born here and have lived here all my life. I appreciate our taxpayers. Without them, our city could not function properly. So let's not overburden them. I appreciate our seniors that built our city and our veterans that fought to protect us. I will do everything in my power to give them a better life. We need our streets and neighborhoods to be safe. People need to be able to walk safely around our city and drive safely around our city at all times of day or night. We need to give the tools and direction to the people that need them to keep us and themselves safe. If you elect the right people who are like-minded, all this and more will become reality. I will not become a rubber stamp for anyone. We need new blood, new ideas, and people that don't go along to get along. Most of all, we need you to get out and vote, get your family and friends out and vote, and I humbly ask for one of your votes. I'm Ed Carrera. Please email me at edcarrera@comcast.net. I want to hear your questions, concerns, and suggestions. Today's a good day to have a good day. Paid for by Ed Carrera.
Hi neighbor, Middleboro Gas and Electric would like to share a quick safety tip with you. Whether you're planting shrubs or putting in a new mailbox, Dig Safe will help locate underground pipes and wires on your property and mark them to help prevent any damage. Before you dig, you must call 811 for any project that requires digging, drilling, excavating, grading, or trenching. A damaged gas line may create an explosion hazard that could result in loss of service, severe property damage, or worse. Don't take a chance. Call 811 before you dig.
Hi, I'm Chris Keach of the Morning Wake Up News here at WVBF. My good friend Joey Driscoll has an amazing program all about Middleboro Sunday mornings from 7 a.m. to 8 a.m. It's called Middleboro in Review. He talks about sports. He talks about local events in Middleboro and anything of interest in Middleboro and beyond. So join him, Middleboro in Review with Joey Driscoll, Sunday morning, 7 a.m. to 8 a.m. only here at AM 1530 WVBF and at 99.7 FM.
All right, we're back here. 508-822-1106 is the number to call if you want to call in and talk about what is on your mind this morning on this rainy Monday morning here, October 20th, 2025. It is kind of a warm day outside, but the rain is kind of cooling it down a little bit, and it's kind of a cold rain as well. But hopefully the rain will get out of here by the end of the day today, and the rest of the day will be nice as well. We've got a couple of days where it's going to be kind of nice weather-wise, and then it's going to start to kind of cool down as we head into Halloween and then into November as well. We've got about a month left as well of the hurricane season. The hurricane season seems like it's kind of busy, but it's also kind of quiet as well. This year it's been more busy on the Pacific side of the hurricane season. The Pacific hurricane season has been much more busy than the Atlantic. Right now, the Atlantic is in the M's. In the M name right now, which would be Melissa, if that does end up getting named at some point, which there's some spots where that could happen soon. In the Pacific, we're already past O, so it's been much more busy on the Pacific side of the hurricane season. But I'd say about a month or so left in the hurricane season. So we'll see what happens there. We're kind of past the peak of the hurricane season now. So over the next couple of weeks, it might start to slow down. But I just wanted to give a quick update on that. I've got a couple minutes here before the 11:30 news break. Town of Middleboro Board of Assessors cylindrical inspections notice to taxpayers. The Middleboro Assessor's Office is in the process of conducting cylindrical inspections of real estate that's throughout the town of Middleboro. The inspections are a Massachusetts Department of Revenue mandate requiring municipalities to inspect every property at least once every 10 years to ensure accurate property data and fair, full value assessment. These inspections verify property details such as measurements, building types, and interior features, leading to more uniform and equitable property tax assessments for everyone in the community. Inspectors will be wearing proper ID and their vehicle information is on file with the Middleboro Police Department. The Board of Assessors, they urge the public to be cooperative with the ongoing data collection efforts. Please feel free to call the Assessor's Office at 508-946-2410 with any questions or concerns. So we have that going on in Middleboro. We talked about this last week, or a couple more weeks with this as well. The Church Green Farmers Market in Taunton. The First Parish Church, 76 Church Green. That will be ending on November 2nd. Got 2 more Sundays. 2 more chances to go to the farmers market, 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. Again, Sunday, October 26th and Sunday, November 2nd, which will be the final market day. It features farm fresh produce, unique crafts, family-friendly fun. They accept SNAP and EBT for accessibility, support local business, and learn about local food sourcing in the tastiest and freshest way possible. We have that going on as well. Also, coming up tomorrow, a journey through the roots of American popular music. This is a program by John and Lee Waterman. That's going to be at the Taunton Public Library at 12 Pleasant Street in Taunton. Tuesday, October 21st, 5:30 p.m. So tomorrow at 5:30 p.m. Live music, making history live. So that's coming up tomorrow at the Taunton Public Library at 12 Pleasant Street in Taunton. A couple of more things to talk about here. I'm going to do our election early voting talk after the news. But we've got a couple things here. One more thing we want to mention here before taking our 11:30 news break. The Taunton Morton Hospital in Taunton, they'll be hosting a Fall Family Fun Day. That's going to be Saturday, October 25th from 11 a.m. to 2. Activities will be held both inside and outside at the hospital's main campus, which is located at 88 Washington Street in Taunton. The free community event that will include a variety of activities for all ages, including hospital tours, health screenings, and information. There'll be raffles and giveaways. Kids' activities that will include trick-or-treating, face paint, games, and a touch-a-truck, featuring vehicles from Brewster Ambulance Service, First Light Casino Police and EMS, Taunton Municipal Lighting Plant, and the Taunton Police Department. Meet and greet, take photos with a special guest, New England Patriots official mascot, Pat Patriot. That is from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. Food will be provided by Morton Hospital, which will serve hamburgers and hot dogs, as well as Colonial Donut Shop as well. They'll be offering complimentary donuts and flavored coffees while supplies last. Ice cream and Dell's Lemonade will be available for purchase from Tom and Jimmy's Ice Cream Truck. For additional information about Morton Hospital's Fall Family Fun Day, visit mortonhospital.org. All right, 11:29 a.m. Let's take our news break, and we'll be right back.
From Town Hall. nation's highest court will take up another firearms case. The Supreme Court will consider whether people who routinely smoke marijuana can legally own guns. Trump administration asked the justices to revive the case against a Texas man charged with a felony because he allegedly had a gun in his home and acknowledged being a regular pot user. The Republican-led Senate will try again today to reopen the government in the face of Democrat opposition. House Speaker Mike Johnson suggesting the Democrats ought to be ashamed of themselves.
This is the first time in history that any party has had the audacity to shut down the government over a totally clean, nonpartisan continuing resolution. This is what was done.
Senate Republicans have voted 10 times to reopen the government, with each attempt failing because of Democratic opposition. President Trump says that Ukraine should give up some territory in order to end the war with Russia.
Even though Russia is the aggressor and despite his recent openness to helping Ukraine win, the president now says most of the contested Donbas region of Ukraine should go to Russia.
What I say is they should stop right now at the battle lines. Go home, stop killing people, and be done.
At the current battle line, most of Donbas would be in Russian hands. The president plans to meet with Russia's Vladimir Putin in the coming weeks. Ray Clugston, Washington.
Amazon's cloud computing service experienced a major outage earlier today. It disrupted many online services like Snapchat, Roblox, and Signal. The outage began around 3 a.m. Eastern Time, and it lasted for several hours. No word yet on the cause of the outage. Watching Wall Street, stocks are sharply higher this morning. The Dow is up about 414 points, gain of almost 1%. NASDAQ ahead 300 points. More on these stories, townhall.com.
Just hearing the word IRS can make people break out in a cold sweat. No one wants to deal with the IRS, and now you don't have to. The good news is Legal Tax Defense has been successfully negotiating with the IRS for more than 15 years. It doesn't matter how much you owe, whether it's $5,000 or $5 million, you deserve the best in the business on your side, and that is Legal Tax Defense. Even if you're working with someone else and just want a second opinion, there is no cost or obligation to call. They can prevent levies, liens, wage garnishments, even file back tax returns. And the best news about Legal Tax Defense is they won't take your case unless they know they will reduce or eliminate your tax debt. Call Legal Tax Defense right now for a free no-risk consultation. 800-292-7875. 800-292-7875. You have nothing to lose but everything to gain. 800-292-7875.
Just like they used to do it in the old Soviet Union. A 5-year economic plan, the subject of a series of meetings of China's communist hierarchy. Those meetings getting underway today in Beijing.
Recently, China's 5-year plans have focused on high-quality development and putting China at the cutting edge of things like chip making and artificial intelligence. Until now, China's relied on advanced chips from the United States. But that could change if the next 5-year plan includes President Xi's call for new productive forces. That means developing high-end tech, yes, but with the national security twist of making China self-sufficient.
The BBC's Nick Marsh. Preliminary results show Rodrigo Paz, the free market senator who is never a nationally prominent figure until now, has won Bolivia's presidential election. News and analysis, townhall.com. Restrictive new Pentagon press rules have some journalists balking and walking.
25 years in the DOD media beat, retired Lieutenant Colonel Robert McInnes tells Salem Radio he's sensitive to both sides of the issue.
I got to know the Pentagon press corps very well, and I walked in their shoes in some cases.
He says the issue is to prevent harmful leaks.
What we don't want is people using their access to the Pentagon to sit down and to gather information from people that are willing to compromise their ethics.
Colonel McInnes says there would be consequences choking off the press. The balance must be struck.
You don't gain security, you risk creating blind spots. And we don't want blind spots in a constitutional republic, but at the same time, we don't want to jeopardize the lives of our young men and women.
George Williams, Washington.
More on these stories at townhall.com.
And we're back here on Middleboro Matters. I am Joey Driscoll. Today is the 20th of October, 2025, and we go over to our sports. We're going to be doing the Taunton city election, early voting here as well. We're going to talk about that in a little bit, but we're going to do some sports here first. We're going to switch over to our sports segment. Now, we got a lot to talk about in our sports segment. The NFL continues tonight. Is a doubleheader for Monday Night Football, starting at 7 p.m. Tampa Bay Buccaneers will face the Detroit Lions. That's going to be on ABC and ESPN. And then the nightcap tonight is 10 o'clock. That'll be the Houston Texans versus the Seattle Seahawks on ESPN. That is going to be coming up at 10 o'clock. So a doubleheader for Monday Night Football tonight. In the MLB, game number 7 of the ALCS is going to be tonight. The Seattle Mariners will take on the Toronto Blue Jays. That is game number 7, the deciding game. I had predicted that this series was going to go 7. I think that these two teams have been very equally matched in this series so far, but we'll see what happens here in game number 7. Fox and Fox 1 will have the game. FS1 will have the game as well. So stay tuned for that. That's at 8:08 p.m. tonight, if you want to watch that game. The probable pitchers for that game will be George Kirby for the Seattle Mariners versus Shane Bieber for the Toronto Blue Jays. Kirby has an 0-1 record, 7.07 ERA, 18 strikeouts. I'm assuming this is for the playoffs. And Bieber, 1-0, 4.15 ERA, 10 strikeouts in the in this particular playoff. So again, that's coming up. The game will be at Rogers Center in Toronto. So Toronto will have a little bit of that upper hand when it comes to being at home for game number 7 as well. So we'll see what happens in that game. The Patriots defeated the Tennessee Titans 31-13. I thought the game was pretty good. I was able to listen to the second half of the game. And Patriots completely dominated the Tennessee Titans in the second half of the game. It was close in the first half. They were very close to these two teams making plays. But second half was all Patriots from the start of the second half to the end. There were some really bad plays by Cam Ward. The Tennessee Titans just didn't look good at all in the second half. What I want to see from the Patriots is a full 60 minutes of great football. I think this game maybe shouldn't have been close in the first half, but again, I have no arguments because we came out on top. I think that's something to kind of keep an eye on, how the Patriots play in the first half, because the Saints, that was a close game. Yes, there was a lot of penalties in that game, so that affected the game quite a bit. But there wasn't a lot of penalties in this game. And the first half, it was kind of sluggish for the Patriots. But the second half, very, very good for the Patriots. They have the Browns next. The Browns took care of business against the Dolphins, 31-6. And I think the Mike McDaniels era in Miami is pretty close to being done. That was a disaster of a game for our Miami. They have not been great at all this year. Not as bad as the Jets. The Jets, what a disaster the Jets have been this year. Another loss Yes, it was a close loss, 13-6, but another loss nonetheless. They are still winless as well. But the Eagles were able to get back on track. 28-22 victory over the Vikings. The Chiefs got back on track as well with a 31-0 shutout of the Raiders. So that is interesting as well. So we'll see what happens there. Bills and Ravens had bye weeks this week, which they desperately needed. In week 8, the Bills, they will take on the Panthers. This is becoming a very interesting matchup. This matchup right here is going to be very interesting. And the Ravens have to take on the Bears. So that's going to be interesting as well. Patriots, they'll, as I said, take on the Browns. That'll be a 1 o'clock game on Sunday. I believe they'll be back home for that game. Last 3 weeks they've been on the road. So there you go. The Bruins continue to struggle. 4th straight loss, 3-2 against the Utah Mammoth. I kind of expected this. The Bruins, definitely a much weaker team than last year. Kind of surprised me a little bit when they started 3-0, but now they're facing off against teams that are better than them. Those wins, those first couple of wins, those were against, yes, the Capitals are pretty good. But you have the Blackhawks who are still rebuilding. You have the Sabres who are still rebuilding as well. Those were wins for us. And then we ran into some really tough teams. The Golden Knights are good. The Tampa Bay Lightning, they're good. The Avalanche are very good. And the Mammoth are starting to build on their good first year there in Utah. Now we have the Panthers tomorrow night. And that will not be an easy game either. So there are a lot of tough games. Even the Senators, that's a game that is starting to get more tough as the years go on because the Senators are starting to become better than they used to be. They're kind of rebuilding their team, and that rebuild seems to be going pretty well for Ottawa, the Ottawa Senators. But we'll see what happens tomorrow night. But Bruins not off to a good road start for sure. Real quick with the FBS top 25, Ohio State and Indiana and Texas A&M are the top 3 teams. They are undefeated. Alabama is 4th. Vanderbilt's coming back. They're 10th now. I have a feeling that these 2 teams, depending on what happens in the next couple of weeks for Vanderbilt, because they've got some really tough teams coming up on the Vanderbilt schedule. But I think these 2 teams might face each other again in the playoff. But we'll have to see. We'll have to see. I mentioned that could happen a couple of weeks ago. But we'll have to see what happens there. Georgia's 5th. Oregon is 6th. Georgia Tech is 7th. They're an undefeated team. BYU is 11th, and they're undefeated. Ole Miss, 8th. Miami, the Hurricanes are 9th. We talked about Vanderbilt being in 10th. Notre Dame is 12th. They continue to find ways to win. Notre Dame. I was convinced that they were going to be unranked at some point, but looks like they have a pretty good schedule coming up, and Notre Dame seems like will stay ranked for the time being. Oklahoma, 13th. Texas Tech, 14th. Missouri is 15th. That's one of the teams Vanderbilt has to face. I believe that's their next game, actually. Virginia, 16th. Tennessee, 17th. South Florida is 18th. 19th is Louisville. 20th is LSU. LSU suffered a huge loss as well. That drops them pretty far down the rankings. Cincinnati is 21st. Texas 22nd, still ranked. Illinois 23rd. Arizona State 24th, and Michigan hanging on to a 25th, top 25 spot in the 25th spot. So we have that as well. And one other thing I want to talk about in the sports segment before we move on is talk about the Taunton City election and early voting. We'll take our last commercial break and then talk about that. And if we have time, we'll do a transportation segment. There we go. We'll have that coming up as well. But one other thing I want to talk about here in the sports is Curry College running back Monty Quinn rushed for a NCAA record 522 yards. Curry defeated Nichols 71-27. Quinn had taken down the NCAA record for all divisions and pretty much all of football, actually. There is a high school stat that I want to briefly talk about. He didn't take that one down, but there are other levels of football that he did take down the records. 522 yards on just 20 carries, which is even more surprising as well. And he had 7 touchdowns. 5 of Quinn's touchdown runs were over 50 yards, 2 topping 80 in the second half. He broke the standing NCAA and Division III record of 465. That was set by Heidelberg Cartel Brooks in 2013. He broke the FBS record of rushing yards in a game. That's 427. That was set by Simon Pirine, who I believe is on the Cincinnati Bengals right now, for Oklahoma. That was 2014. But Quinn could have had more. He sat out the Colonel's final 2 drives following his 85-yard touchdown with 9:23 to play. So he could have broken the high school record as well. We'll talk about the high school record in just a second. Quinn has 1,450 rushing yards and 17 touchdowns this season. Has topped 110 yards in all of Curry's games so far, going over 200 yards in 3 games. So that is huge there for him. So congratulations to him. Of course, Curry College is in Milton, here in the state. The NFL record for a single game rushing yards, that's 296 yards. And that was set by Adrian Peterson of the Vikings, November the 4th, 2007 against the Chargers. Peterson's record-breaking performance, including 3 touchdowns, he broke the previous record of 295 yards. That was set by Jamal Lewis. And, of course, I mentioned the high school single-game rushing record. So apparently, from the information that I have gathered, the single-game rushing record for a high school is 722 yards by Journey Brown of Medville, Pennsylvania. That was in 2015, breaking the previous record that had been widely cited from a 1950 game, while John Giannatano of Netcong, New Jersey, was credited with 754 yards in 1950. Research shows that this figure was all-purpose yards, not purely rushing. Journey Brown of Medville, PA, and that single game, that was all rushing. 722 yards. Wow. So there you go. And that's your sports segment for today. Let's take our last commercial break right now. When we come back, we'll have a little bit of transportation and our Taunton City election early voting as well. We'll be right back. They must have just handed the kid the ball like every play of the game. 722 yards. That's insane. That's insane.
Gas and Electric would like to share a quick safety tip with you. Many people have been taking on home improvements this year, but have you also upgraded your electrical safety system? Older homes, like so many in our area, have outdated breakers and wiring that may not meet the high-powered needs of modern technology. A licensed electrician knows all the code requirements, including the latest updates adopted just last year. You can find an easy-to-read summary of home upgrades to consider at mgev.com.
Hi, I'm Chris Keach of Morning Wake Up News here at WBBM. My good friend Joey Driscoll has an amazing program all about Middleboro Sunday mornings from 7 a.m. to 8 a.m. It's called Middleboro in Review. He talks about sports. He talks about local events in Middleboro and anything of interest in Middleboro and beyond. So join him, Middleboro in Review, with Joey Driscoll, Sunday morning, 7 a.m. to 8 a.m., only here at AM 1530 WBBF and at 99.7 FM.
And we are back here on Middleboro Matters. I am Joey Driscoll. Today is Monday, October 20th, 2025. We have a couple more minutes left in the program today. 508-822-1106 if you want to call in, talk about whatever is on your mind this morning. Let's talk about Taunton's early voting. The Taunton City election, that'll be on Tuesday, November the 4th. Early voting starts Saturday, October 25th, Taunton City Hall. That's located at 15 Summer Street in the Silver City Conference Room. That's on the second floor. No appointment is necessary to vote early. You simply just have to walk in. Saturday, the 25th, will be the beginning of that, 8 a.m. to 2 p.m. on that day. Monday, October 27th, 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. Tuesday, October 28th, 8 a.m. to 7 p.m. The 29th of October, 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. Thursday, October 30th, 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. And then Friday, Halloween, October 31st, 8 a.m. to noon. Questions, please call the Taunton Elections Department at 508-821-1044. Again, early voting starts this weekend for the election, and the election's just about 2 weeks away. Wow, where has the time gone? If you want to, watch the debate that took place this past week, you have a chance to as well on TCAM as well for the next couple of weeks as the election draws closer. So you can do that as well if you're in Taunton, or you can. I think it's probably available online as well. You can do that. Go online and check that out there too on TCAM's website. Okay. Our transportation topic here, our transportation segment here, as we end the show with that today. The MBTA projects have gotten a $850 million boost from fair share funds. The new funding will pay for backlog state of good repair projects, accessibility improvements, and new maintenance facilities for electric buses and trains. This week, MassDOT Board of Directors approved $850 million transfer from the Commonwealth Transportation Fund to the MBTA to finance new regional rail equipment and facilities, green line accessibility improvements, and a new battery electric bus garage at the Arborway. The new funding will come from the state's new fair share tax surcharge on high-income households. The legislature's 2026 budget, they set a $550 million in fair share funding to the Commonwealth Transportation Fund, the CTF, which helps finance MBTA operations that also pays down the state's transportation debt. The additional fair share funding considerably expands how much money the state can afford to borrow from bond investors. This is otherwise known as bonding capacity. At the October 15th MassDOT Board of Directors meeting, David Mulher, of the chief of MassDOT's Office of Transportation Planning, explained that the CTF is what we bond our capital program out of for special obligation bonds. This $550 million a year will yield $2.5 billion for Mass DOT, $1.5 billion for Chapter 90, which is the state's aid program for municipal road maintenance, and $850 million, that's for the MBTA. There's 4 major projects that are tentatively slated to receive the new funding. The first one is the Arbor Way Electric Bus Garage. For several years now, the T has been planning a new bus maintenance facility to replace an open-air bus parking lot and methane refueling facility that's at the Arbor Way Yard property near Forest Hills. The new garage that will accommodate and recharge 200 new battery electric buses. The T had previously hoped to begin construction next year, but the timeline has slipped several times for want of a dedicated source of funding for the project. That project is estimated to cost around $440 million. Once the new garage is complete, the project would also free up 8 acres of land next to the Forest Hills station for a new transit-oriented housing, which would help defray some of the project's costs. And also let the T retire about 2/3 of its aging fleet of methane-fueled buses. Phase 1 of Wyatt Circle is also another project. The new funding will also pay for T's first new facilities at the Wyatt Circle property, this is in South Boston, which the state spent a quarter of $1 billion to acquire back in 2022. The planning is a design and construction of a 6-track electrified layover facility for storage and operation of the Fairmont line. New facilities are a necessary component of the T's plans to start running battery-powered trains on the Fairmont line by the end of 2027. And the work will also include site preparation work for the rest of Wyatt Circle, which is slated to eventually become a major storage facility for an expanded fleet of rail trains. And could also support overnight layover for new Amtrak equipment, serving proposed new routes to Albany and New Haven. Green Line Type 10 infrastructure. The T will also use new funding for what Manala called desperately needed work on the Green Line, their signals, tracks, and stations before the agency receives its first new Type 10 trains next year, 2026. Those new trains are longer with a low floor design. They'll require the T to upgrade all stations with longer platforms that are fully accessible under the requirements of the Americans with Disabilities Act. And finally, new commuter rail locomotives. Manala said that the T would also be able to kick off a procurement process to replace the T's oldest diesel-powered regional local rail locomotives. He also warned that the age of those diesel engines is threatening service reliability if procurements are delayed. It will be a top concern for the MBTA in the coming years. And a lot of those trains, Manala said that they'll be aging out over the next 5 to 10 years. All right, so that's a big story there. Big news, a lot of funding coming through some pretty significant projects in the state for the MBTA. All right, 12 o'clock. I want to thank everyone for listening today on Middleboro Matters. I'll be back on the air once again on Friday morning for another edition of Hometown Talk, 9 a.m. Another Friday edition of Hometown Talk, 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. At 10:35 a.m. we will have Paul Lazarovich calling in. So stay tuned for that. I will talk to everyone on Friday, and bye-bye, everybody.
Live from the Taunton Federal Credit Union Studios at 14 Church Green, we are AM 1530, WBBF, Middleboro, Taunton, and W259DD, Middleboro Center, 99.7 FM, your hometown radio station.